I'm Judy Wu. I forgot to introduce myself at the last session. I am faculty here at Bellevue Community College, and some of you may encounter me in the future or have encountered me in the past. I teach statistics and research methodologies, and on behalf of the Bellevue Community College, thank you for attending. We'd also like to say thank you to Boeing, who is our sponsor for this day-long event. In particular, Jerry Bunce, Dave Halverson, and James Westfall. Jerry was just here and just checking on things, and so I'm really thankful to Boeing for sponsoring this and bringing together some incredible panelists for us today. Ann Bassetti, who is listed as one of the panelists today, unfortunately sends her apologies. She was unable to come due to an emergency. We're in the second hour of our session, and two of the panelists that spoke earlier were Elizabeth Lund. Elizabeth is from Boeing and is currently the Director of Interiors Responsibility at the Everett plant in the Fabrication Division. She has her Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering and her Master's of Science in Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering. Kristen Rhodes also spoke earlier, and Kristen has her bachelor's degree in business. She's a local girl, and she's with Microsoft. She's the Director of Higher Education Accounts and works with the West and Central regions for Microsoft Education Solutions. Our two panelists this hour include Wister Kay. Wister has worked with a number of technology programs, both internationally as well as nationally. She was formerly with Washington Software Alliance, and she's currently working for the state of Washington in trade and economic development. Our first speaker is going to be Joy Jepson. Joy is another incredible woman. She's currently the director of Boeing Employee Portal Program. She has her Bachelor of Science in Computer Science and her Master of Science degree in Computer Systems Management. I'd like to have you welcome the panel, and thank you to you all for your I'm just so impressed. Wow. Thank you so much.
So that's me. My name is Joy Jepson, and I work at the Boeing Company. And how I wanted to start off today is to say I've been extremely fortunate in that I took advantage of scholarships and educational programs. And so my bachelor's degree, I was on a ROTC, United States Air Force scholarship, so I was able to get my bachelor's at Washington State. I was at Offutt Air Force Base in Omaha, Nebraska, and they set up a special program where I was able to get my master's degree at Creighton. And then one of the wonderful things that Boeing offers is a Learning Together program. And believe it or not, I love school, so I am now in my PhD program, second year, but it has nothing to do with computers. I'm doing leadership and change to do something different there. So it's the idea of school and being a continual learner, and whether it's to go for formal degrees or just because there's a class that interests you and you go take it, the fact of that continual learning is something that you should never give up. And most companies will value that very much because as you continue to learn, you continue to grow, you expand your horizons. And one of the wonderful things about Boeing's program is you don't even have to get that degree in what you're working at because they know that if you want to grow and learn and try new opportunities, they want to give you that opportunity to go through the Learning Together program. So. Just a quick biography. I am a military brat, so I've traveled all over the world with my family, as well as followed my father's footsteps and served 6 years in the Air Force. And like I said, it was a great opportunity. I went to Washington State thinking I was going to be a linguist. I had Spanish and French and Russian. I happened to take a computer class because that's what my boyfriend did, and got 105%. The ROTC department says, man, if you sign up for computer science for a degree, we'll pay for your whole education, and we'll even retro and pay for your last semester because you actually took a computer class. It's like, well, okay, talk to people in different languages, talk to machines in different languages. I think I can do that. Hence, that's how I got into computers and how I got into the technology field. So it happened to be a guy that I was dating, which I have no idea where he is now in life. But hey, it's amazing what happens with the people that you meet. You never know. So the fact that that's how I got into computers, the reason why I went for my master's degree is because the Air Force made it so easy. They brought the professors to the base and had us be able to do our training there. And so that made it really easy, especially because I was a single parent at the time. So I graduated from college, got married, and went to the Air Force, had a kid, got divorced, and had to figure out, okay, how do I support my child and myself? How do I still have a career? And the Air Force went out of their way to make sure that it was supported. So I had the daycare, so I'd work all day, spend time with my daughter for dinner. She went to bed, I went to school. Of course, in your 20s, I guess you don't need much sleep, so that seemed to be the way that it worked. So, and then I was stationed up here in Washington, and Boeing had a program that they were recruiting for in their defense side of the house. And so because I had remarried and had my son, decided, my whole family was here, my dad retired from here, that I'd stick around. So I left the service and I joined Boeing, and I've been with them now for 17 years. So a little bit of experience is great. I mean, when I was in ROTC, I was the only female. When I was in my computer science classes, I was the only female. When I went to my first assignment, I was the only female officer. The other female in the office was our staff sergeant that took care of all the admin aspects of it. And it was amazing because I thought, okay, I had to be strong, I had to have masculine traits because that's what was accepted. And luckily, having a child made me realize that I don't have to be something that I'm not. I could be me and still be very successful. And my daughter helped me realize that. And I had some great experiences when I was in the service. My first job, it was great because I was computer science. Most of the time you go in and you only get to do one thing. You program or you test or you implement. The job that I had, I was able to gather requirements as well as do the designing, architecting, developing, and I actually flew on what was called the looking glass, the airborne command post. In case NORAD went out and they didn't have anybody to decide if you could launch a missile, you could from this program, from this plane. And I was the computer technician on board. I trained the people on how to use it, as well as did the troubleshooting. So I had end-to-end understanding of what it took to build and implement and use a system, as well as being able to train. And that was fascinating because I'm a big picture kind of person, and I got that right out of the chute from graduating from college, going into the service, and I had that opportunity, which really helped a lot as I went forward. And part of the last session, we talked about being flexible and open. So even though I was focusing in on programming, where technology has gone today, programming is not as important as it used to be. The way I'm talking about bits and bytes and trying to make the computer talk to you type of thing, to where what we have today, that's not as important. But because I was open and had a chance, I became the test officer because I found the most errors. It's usually how things happen, right? I had found the most errors, so I became the test officer. But it's the fact that the Air Force, what I gained from that was they didn't care if you were male or female or minority. When they were reviewing your officer evaluation reports, they would cross off the name.